Mahabharata, a tale so old, so vast, and so powerful that its echoes still vibrate through humanity today. This is not just the story of a war, it is the story of destiny, responsibility, and the eternal struggle between light and darkness inside every human being. Today, we begin the first part of this timeless epic, a journey into honor, betrayal, and the slow-burning fire that would one day consume an entire kingdom. So, take a breath, and let's begin. Long ago, in the heart of ancient India, stood the mighty Kuru dynasty. Its capital, Hastinapura, was a symbol of pride and strength. Kings ruled with wisdom, warriors trained with discipline, and sages walked among the nobles, preserving the balance of the land. But beneath that balance, a storm was forming. At the center of this storm were two branches of the royal family, the Pandavas and the Kauravas. The Pandavas, 5 brothers, were born of virtue and guided by Dharma, the path of righteousness. Yudhishthira, the eldest, was said to never speak a lie. Bhima was unmatched in strength, feared by demons and warriors alike. Arjuna, master of the bow, trained by the legendary sage Drona. And the twins, Nakula and Sahadeva, loyal, intelligent, and graceful in battle. But on the other side stood the Kauravas, 100 brothers, and at their head was Duryodhana, a man forged not by wisdom, but by jealousy. To Duryodhana, the very existence of the Pandavas was a threat. They were loved by the people, they were the rightful heirs, and worst of all, they overshadowed him in every way. That jealousy grew day by day, year by year, until it transformed into something darker. One day, Duryodhana approached his cunning uncle Shakuni, the master of deceit. Shakuni's eyes gleamed as he listened to his nephew's grievances, and he proposed an idea. A dangerous idea wrapped in the appearance of harmless entertainment, a game of dice. But these dice were no ordinary dice. They were crafted with trickery, responding to Shakuni's will. Yudhishthira, bound by honor, could not refuse a formal invitation. He walked into the royal hall with confidence, not knowing he was stepping into a trap. And so, the game began. With every throw, Yudhishthira lost more than wealth. He lost land, he lost power, he lost freedom. And finally, in a moment that shook the kingdom itself, he lost everything. The Pandavas stood humiliated, stripped of their dignity in front of the entire court. Their punishment was merciless. 13 years of exile, the last of which had to be spent in absolute secrecy. If they were discovered during the final year, they would have to start all over again. But fate had not abandoned them. Even in exile, the Pandavas grew stronger. They trained with sages, learned ancient weapons, and broadened their wisdom. Arjuna traveled to the heavens, earning celestial weapons from the gods themselves. Bhima battled demons, his power multiplying. Yudhishthira deepened his understanding of justice and leadership. Meanwhile, Duryodhana grew more arrogant, convinced that his victory was complete. He did not realize that every passing day was bringing him closer to a storm far greater than he could imagine. When the exile ended, the Pandavas returned, calm, dignified, and seeking peace. They did not demand the entire kingdom. They simply asked for their rightful share. But Duryodhana responded with a cold smile. "I will not give you land," he said, "not even enough to match the point of a needle." And with those words, the final thread of peace snapped. The drums of war began to echo across the land. Allies were called, armies marched, sages foresaw devastation. The world braced itself for Kurukshetra, a battlefield that would soon witness the clash of righteousness and ambition. But before swords were drawn, before arrows flew? Something deeper occurred, something that would change the very course of humanity, where destiny takes the stage and even the gods hold their breath. The battlefield of Kurukshetra stretched as far as the eye could see. Chariots gleamed beneath the rising sun. Conch shells echoed across the plains, and warriors stood ready, millions of them, knowing many would never return. On one side, the Pandava army, led by righteousness. On the other, the Kauravas, strengthened by pride and powerful allies. The earth itself seemed to tremble. But before the war even began, something profound happened. Arjuna, the greatest archer of his time, stood at the front of the Pandava army. He looked across the battlefield, and what he saw shattered his heart. There were his teachers, his cousins, his friends, men he had grown up with, men he respected deeply. And suddenly, the mighty Arjuna felt his bow slip from his hands. "How can I kill them?" he whispered. "What victory could justify this bloodshed?" His charioteer stepped forward, calm, radiant, and eternal. This was Krishna, the divine in human form. What Krishna told Arjuna that day became one of the greatest philosophical teachings in world history. He said, "Arjuna, life and death are not yours to control. Do not fight out of hatred. Do not flee out of fear. Fight because it is your duty. The outcome is not yours. Only the action is." These words form the Bhagavad Gita, a text that continues to shape spiritual thought to this day. Strengthened by Krishna's guidance, Arjuna rose. He lifted his bow, the Gandiva, and the war began. For 18 days, Kurukshetra became a realm of fire and fury. Armies clashed like thunder. Warriors whose names echoed through legend met face to face. Vows were fulfilled, and ancient grudges settled. Bhishma, the grand patriarch, fought with unmatched honor. Drona, the greatest teacher, unleashed devastation. Karna, noble yet cursed, faced his destiny with tragic courage. And Bhima tore through the battlefield with earth-shaking strength. Each day of the war was like a lifetime. Each night, the survivors questioned how the world could endure such suffering, but destiny cannot be stopped. On the 18th day, the war ended. The Pandavas stood victorious, but victory tasted like ashes. They looked across the battlefield and saw only silence, silence, and loss. Friends, family, mentors, all gone. In that moment, the Pandavas realized a truth that would stay with them forever. No one truly wins a war. Because even when you stand victorious, your heart is forever marked by what you have lost. And that is the true message of the Mahabharata. It is not a story that glorifies war. It is a story that warns us about it, a reminder that the greatest battle is the one within ourselves, the battle to remain righteous when everything pushes us toward darkness. That is why this epic still survives after thousands of years, because within its verses lie the struggles, hopes, fears, and truths of every human soul.